Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. Rowpaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining BJ Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Now here's Jay Tust and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Happy Friday to you. That's right, it's Friday. We finally reached the end of the week, and we're here to wrap it up with Jay Tust, Sports Director over at KTVB. My name is BJ Rains. This is Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. As always, we're broadcasting from the Cutwater Canned Cocktail Studios. Make sure you pick up one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. And Jay, we're back, man. We're Friday. We're wrapping up the week. We got a lot to talk about with the game on Wednesday, the game tomorrow, and it's a crucial part of the schedule keeps rolling on here for the Broncos. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, almost halfway through. We kind of talked about that earlier this week, but a real crucial 5-game stretch for Boise State, which, if you're going off the net rankings, might be their most difficult 5-game stretch of the regular season, which is kind of crazy because San Diego State isn't even on the radar yet. They're still a few weeks away. Both of those matchups are going to be played out in February. So maybe the second one is early March. I can't remember, but either way, those games are yet to arrive, and Boise State is in this little 5-game gauntlet. The next up includes a trip to Laramie, which is the easiest game somehow of this 5-game gauntlet. I will say this, BJ. Did you see the tweet from the Wyoming Reporter listing all of Wyoming's injuries yesterday?
Yes. Yep. Retweeted that.
It was apparently Jeff Linder's very transparent about what's going on over there. That wouldn't happen in football, at least here. Man, I jokingly said maybe it would have just been easier to list the guys that are available because when you get 5, 6, 7 deep on an injury report in basketball, I mean, that's almost half your roster.
Yep. I mean, that same roster, though, all those guys that were questionable were out against San Diego State, and they nearly beat them. So somehow the last couple of games have been competitive. But I agree. Yeah, I did see your tweet. Yeah, they should list the guys that are available, not unavailable, because of how crazy it's been a tough go for Jeff Linder. And we will talk about that here later in the show. We're going to start with the UNLV game first. I do want to give a quick shout out to our title sponsor, Rowpaint.com. Check them out. They still got that 15% deal going. BNN15 is the promo code. Just use the promo code BNN15 when you're online at ROEpaint.com, making your price quote, and they'll give you 15% off the interior painting of your home. I do want to start actually with our contest that we did, Jay. Awesome contest. Greg McVeigh. Excuse me. Wow. On-air sneeze. That was awesome. That might be a record. I couldn't get to the mute button fast enough, so I apologize for that. Wow. Happy Friday. We had our great contest.
That trip was nothing to sneeze at, BJ.
No, Greg McVeigh, his wife Heather. It was an amazing trip. I thank Matt Bauscher. I thank the whole crew for coming in. I mean, it was literally unbelievable to pick them up. And I came the night before to make sure everything was good. Circa Resort and Casino offered up their stretch limo. It was supposed to be for one time in the limo. It ended up being to and from the game. And then yesterday morning, we got a ride back to the airport. So Matt Bauscher and Seth Robinson, it was great to have them on the trip as well. They got to meet Derek Stevens, the owner of Circa Resorts and Casino out there at Stadium Swim by the pool. That was a lot of fun. But as I mentioned, Greg McVeigh, his wife Heather, had some fun in the limo, had some fun on the jet down. We had a really nice dinner with the whole crew, and it was a lot of fun. And they even got a picture with Coach Rice after the game. So overall, it was just a perfect trip. The first time that we did it, and we're going to hope to make this an annual thing, Jay.
When do I get to win it?
I was talking to John Mallory about that. We need to do a BNN kind of guys trip or family trip or something down to Vegas at some point.
I was kidding, but okay, perfect. I'm in.
Hey, here's a quick recap. Colin Mitchell put together a little 90-second video from the trip, and just for folks that missed it or didn't see it, the BNN experience, it was anybody that signed up for a subscription during the month of December or renewed their subscription. We had about 350 of you that took advantage of this to enter the contest. We truly appreciate that. That's helping us do things like pay Jay and some of these guys to be on here doing these shows and be able to go on these road trips. And we're very appreciative of Ridley's Family Markets, of Bauscher Real Estate in particular, for helping us out on this trip, and really looking forward to what's next. And I do want to add to this, maybe we can do a football game in the fall or a basketball game next year. But if you are hoping to win next year, if you wanted to win this year and didn't get it, here's what you missed.
First, I think I told you, BJ, when you emailed me, I thought I was getting catfished. So I see you at the game, I go up there, I give you my phone to look at it, and you said, Greg, you've won a trip. But the best thing about this trip was the group we were with. We all clicked. And so that was probably the most special thing about it.
Yep.
For me. And then winning in Mackey Arena.
Oh yeah, going down there and winning at Thomas and Mack Center. What just like I said, to get the flight, the hotel, go to the game, you guys had the limo rides. I mean, it had to seem like, I don't know what you thought you were getting into, but it had to be a pretty cool experience.
Never done it. Memories. Hopefully you pick me again next year.
But overall, was everything you could have hoped for and more, I guess? Or
it was better. And again, it was just the whole group, everybody that you had involved with this.
It was awesome. It was 20 fun hours. Heather and Greg were fantastic. We had such a blast with them. 4 limo rides, sitting right behind the team to get a road win like that. I mean, that might be the best I've seen the Broncos play all season. 53 points in the second half. They shot lights out, and they're a unit. They're having fun. They came together, and to watch them win and have such a great experience. First class. Bronco Nation News was a first class trip, man. I had a great time.
I don't know what you thought you were getting yourself into, man, but the people you got to hang out with and to get the win, and just like you said, the limo rides and gambling late at night and see everything. I mean, just how do you sum it up, I guess? A pretty cool experience?
I hope I get to come next year is all I'll say. That was a blast, man.
And I know him. He's a dog lover. I've met him on the river walking dogs before.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, Matt Bauscher and company, I mean, they came down. It was overall just a good day for everybody, I guess.
It really was. It really was a good Bronco day. No doubt about it.
Bronco Nation News is amazing. Long hours, early mornings. They do all this to give the information to Bronco Nation. And I'm very, 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 very happy with Bronco Nation News and everything they do for Bronco Nation.
Subscribe and get on this thing.
Well, there you go. Wrapped it up pretty nicely there, Jay. Overall, a nice 22 hours or so with everybody.
Amazing how much you can accomplish in 22 hours, and you take a chartered jet. Apparently,
yeah, that is real nice. We were. I think they left Boise at 1:00 on game day, and we're down there by 2:30. We went to the pool, actually, the stadium swim pool at Circa Resort and Casino. Whole group had a couple hours to hang out in the pool, have a few drinks. That's where we met the owner of the casino, Derek Stevens. Had a really, really nice dinner. Shout out Carrie and Matt Bauscher for taking care of the bill on that. Actually, the guys were fighting over it, and they split the bill, so we appreciate them for taking care of a really nice dinner. Jay, I've never seen, I'll be honest, never seen a dinner with cost that much, but they had a good time. They were enjoying themselves with the appetizers and the drinks and everything, and it was a good time. And then, like I said, Circa surprised us with the extra limo ride to the game and back, and couldn't have been a better night. And then we flew back yesterday, and they had me riding shotgun again yesterday on the jet back, Jay, and it was we made it safely, and it was a fun trip. But there's not much better than arriving. If you're going to take a private jet, you go to Vegas, and then you have a stretch limo waiting for you, and then when you leave, you got a stretch limo dropping you off right there by the plane, and then the takeoff. The takeoff from the cockpit with the strip right there. I was pinching myself, man. It was we've been playing in the contest for a couple months. We've been advertising it, and to have it go as well as it did, and to have such awesome winners like Greg and Heather, and just have the whole thing go well and combine it with the win. It was a storybook couple of days for me, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So you rode shotgun in the plane up front.
I did. I rode in the cockpit up front for the way back. They were dumb enough to let me sit up there, and that was we had 9 people, 9 seats. So I was the one that.
Did you
No,
fly at all?
I was not allowed to touch anything. But it was pretty cool to hear all the
What's going on?
radio between them and how many times they're checking in with the towers and the different places and all the other Southwest planes talking about turbulence and trying to find smoother air and all the different stuff. And we had to get rerouted around some military land, I guess, over Utah where you're not allowed to fly over. So there was just some stuff that you know, when you're sitting back in the back, you don't really realize what all's going on up there. But also the autopilot flies at like 98% of the time.
Yeah.
There's actually it's the autopilot. It was crazy that too, how little the actual pilot was doing during the flight. But
I will say I feel like I recognize the pilot. He's a good dude.
He is very good, very good dude, and was happy that we were able to make this work. And again, I thank all of our sponsors. And maybe for next year we can make the celebrity guest Jay Tust instead of Matt Boucher.
I would take a couple days off.
Jay, you want to you want to come hang out with our winner next year and see if we can make it work?
Not instead of Bausch though. That I don't compare there.
We'll add you in maybe. We'll add you in next year. But also, I do want to shout out Cutwater Spirits. They provided, I'd say about 2 cases of Cutwater canned cocktails and some koozies and things and buckets with ice to put it all in, and that made it perfect for the way down. Nobody was really wanting it on the way back at 8 in the morning on Thursday, but they drink plenty on the way down there. And I've got some extras, so maybe we can do a contest or something. I got some extras. But thanks again to Cutwater Spirits and Matt Boucher and Ridley's Family Markets and all of our great sponsors for making that trip happen. I wanted to make sure we gave that due time. But part of the reason, Jay, that it was so successful was the game itself. 84-66. You're down 2 at the half, and they just turn it on in the second half. Chibuzo Abo, I never seen that in my life. Back-to-back 4-point play opportunities from literally the same spot on the floor. Did miss the second free throw, I believe, but gets 7 points in like a 40-second span. You had Max Rice doing his thing. I'd never seen that either. A guy, as Leon joked, they were still doing the starting lineups, and he had a 3, 4 seconds into the game, right off the tip. You had Jace Whiting with a couple of huge buckets in the second half. Najee Smith with 6 blocks. I mean, there were a lot of individual performances, and you look up, and it's an 18-point win, and it's a win that, I tweeted before this. I said, this is probably going to help in the computer rankings. Wasn't quite sure it would help as much as it did, but all of a sudden, Boise State shoots into the top 25 in the net, and number 25 at BartTorvik.com, number 32 in the KenPom rankings. These last 7 days or whatever, beating Utah State as handily as they did, beating UNLV as handily as they did, has put the Broncos in a much better position here for the tournament and all that kind of stuff here moving forward. It was a heck of a win.
I mean, I think that, you going into that little stretch there, you just want wins. And I mean, that's all it's about right now is just winning ball games. But to hand Utah State and UNLV, 2 quad 1 opponents, their worst losses of the season in terms of margin of defeat in back-to-back games, that's remarkable there, BJ. And for them to jump up to 25, I just think it shows you, right? This Boise State team is no joke, and they start to figure out their bench a little bit. Jace Whiting is now he is more than solid. He is somebody that you can absolutely count on. He is a very consistent player. Beyond him, I think that they're growing in confidence with Kobe Young, and Lucas Miller's had some moments. Mo Silla got into the game the other night for a few minutes, but we'll see how that continues to evolve. But this Boise State basketball team, BJ, is playing really, really well. And one thing I mean, you can't not notice this, but what they're doing offensively right now. These last few games have really been fluid and outstanding basketball for them. And, I know that you look at like points per possession and stuff like that. They were like a middle of the road team in the NCAA for the most part up until these last 3 games. If you look at these last 3 games, they're 32nd in the country in terms of points per possession. So they have been very, very efficient on the offensive side, and they're really starting to get the free ball going too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 14 threes, a season high in the game the other night, as you said, and a lot of them were just kind of great ball movement and finding the right guy. Max Rice was 4 of 6, like I said. They literally win the tip off and get him the ball, and he's like, why not? I mean, it was like it was crazy. And the ball, he shot the ball 2 seconds into the game. It goes into the basket 4 seconds into the game, and you're like, okay, it's going to be one of those nights, I guess.
Yeah, and in the preseason, Leon, I don't know how many times he told us this, but in the preseason, he was so impressed with the ball movement. Like this is one of the preseason narratives that he hammered home. Really impressed with the ball movement, thought they were going to be a much better offensive team. And over the first month and a half of the season, maybe even 2 months of the season, it still kind of looked like they were going to end up having to revert back more to like those brick fight games that they won last year, right? But all of a sudden now the offense is waking up, and if they play like this on offense with their ability to get stops on defense, I mean, this is going to be one of the. I mean, I'm comfortable saying it's them and San Diego State at this point. I mean, I saw what they did to Utah State, and I know that Boise State has to go to Logan, and the Aggies will absolutely be ready for that matchup. But it's a two-team league in my opinion for the race to the conference title, at least a quarter of the way through the conference season, and that's Boise State and San Diego State. I know there's a lot of basketball left, but just what I've seen so far, I have no reason to doubt that that's not the case right now. And I'm just really impressed with what Boise State's done offensively. And you look at a guy like Chibuzo Abo too. I mean, this is a guy that's shooting over 62% from three in conference games, BJ. In the last 8 games, he's upwards of 52%. On the season, I mean, like on the season, he's one of the best shooters in the Mountain West. On the season, he's shooting almost 46% from three. Yeah. So, Abu Kijab brought an awful lot to this team last year, and I don't even necessarily want to compare the two because I do think they're similar, but they're different. And the difference that Chibuzo brings to the table is he can just flat out shoot the basketball.
Yep. Yeah, they're a little bit different players. I mean, you know this, but I mean, yeah, he shoots. Abo's a little more of an outside shooter. Kijab posted you up a little more, was a little craftier in the lane. I
think the world of Abu Kijab. So maybe it was my bad there. I didn't even want to get into comparisons.
Because not at all. But I do think
take that dude any day of the week. But what we've seen out of Chibuzo is really promising lately.
No doubt about it. And, I do these Lindy's Magazine stories over the summer. So I talked to all the Big 12 coaches. And when I got Mark Adams, the Texas Tech coach, on the phone back in like June, I said, hey, man, last thing has nothing to do with Lindy's, but I said, I covered Boise State. They just got Chibuzo Abo from, transferred from you guys. Any chance I can get your thought on him and as a player and moving forward? And he just raved for 2 minutes about Abo and said there were days in practice where he literally wouldn't miss a shot. And he said he literally wouldn't miss a shot in practice. He said he just never got the opportunity, but he said, I have no doubt that he is going to go flourish at a school like Boise State when he gets into his own. You're seeing how aggressive he is now. Even at times he's not taking the best shots once in a while, but it's a good thing because he's being aggressive and trying to get going. But that pull up mid range, just the way he shoots and how high he gets and how tall he is, it's very rare he's going to get his shot blocked, and he gets the foul calls now on those threes too.
He's almost got like a little bit of that Dirk Nowitzki like leg kick too, or like knee in the just buy some space there, a little fade away. It just really feels like he's starting to come into his own. And I know you said that there are days where he wouldn't miss a shot in practice at Texas Tech, but so I guess we should bring up a guy that did miss a shot in that game, Tyson Degenhart. Really concerned about that. Only went 8 of 9 against UNLV. That guy was an absolute force against the running Rebels, man. 17 points, 12 rebounds, 6 of those on the offensive glass, 6 assists. Didn't have a single turnover in the game. Played almost 37 minutes. Tyson was one of the best players in the Mountain West on the court on Wednesday against UNLV. I mean, he was absolutely outstanding, and literally a one-of-a-kind stat line in the Leon Rice era. Nobody else has ever posted more than 15 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 0 turnovers in a game since Leon Rice has been coaching, and he's been coaching since the 2010-11 season. So just a remarkable game by Tyson Degenhart.
Hey, make sure to check out Lithia Ford of Boise. There's a new and better way to get exactly what you want in a new Ford car or truck. You can custom order your own from the bottom up, the style, colors, and features you want. If it feels like it's made for you, that's because it is your Ford, your way. And you can get more information, find the vehicle that suits you best at lithiafordboise.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Their mobile e-branch online banking is easier to use than ever. I can personally attest to that. It's so easy to deposit checks and things and move money from one account to the other account or to pay off our truck loan. It's so easy, and you can make the switch today at ICCU.com. You go in one time to the branch to set it up. It takes about an hour, and then you're done, and you never have to go back, and it's the easiest banking experience you'll ever have. I highly recommend Idaho Central Credit Union. Transportation compliance service as well. How about a new job? Looking for a new job? Need a job? Looking for something just different? Well, how about becoming a truck driver? At transcompservice.com, they can help you quickly with all the permits and things you need to get out there on the road, and folks that try to do it themselves go go out of business, over 75% of them. So let the professionals handle it. They'll keep you up to date on all your permits and licenses and things. Transcompservice.com. And I'm talking the big rig on your screen, the Amazon truck in your neighborhood, everywhere in between. Get more information at TCSTranscompservice.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. We appreciate them as well. 13 Idaho locations. You can find one near you, shopridleys.com, and go download the new Ridley's app. The new Ridley's app is in the App Store. I highly recommend that. Go download that. And again, they provided the food and some things on the trip down to Las Vegas, so we're very appreciative for the snacks and things that Ridley's Family Markets brought to the table on the trip. Jay, anything else before we kind of turn the page to Wyoming and big picture? I mean, you had 6 blocks from Najee Smith. We mentioned Jace Whiting hitting a couple of big shots. Any other takeaways from the UNLV game?
Yeah, the Jace Whiting he just continues to impress, and you can tell like he's starting to have these little celebrations after he makes a big three. You can start that he's really starting to get comfortable and feel the pace and the energy of the college game. One more note about Tyson Degenhart that I know this is actually pretty common for these guys, but I caught up with him really quick yesterday, and he was saying that he, they wrap up that victory at 11 p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesday. They land in Boise around 2:30 a.m. on Thursday, and he was already in his accounting class at 9 a.m.
Life as a student athlete, man.
Six and a half hours later.
Life as a student athlete. That's pretty impressive. Good for him for getting up and going to class. Yeah, we saw that, the exclusive with Tyson Degenhart on KTVB last night, or I saw it on your Twitter account, I guess. I'm sure it was on the news as well. So hopefully folks go check that out. And he and the whole team was back. I didn't have a full practice, but they were trying to get some young guys some work, it sounds like. I was listening to Leon Rice on the weekly radio show last night with Bob Beeler, and was talking about how they got the film and things and trying to turn ahead, because it is a quick turnaround. Quick turnaround for me, by the way. I haven't even unpacked yet after getting back, yesterday afternoon, and I just realized my flight's at 7:30 tomorrow morning, so it's going to be a nice. Going to try to. Maybe I just take the bag right. Take the bag right.
You're going to have to significantly change what you pack for Vegas and what you pack for Laramie.
That is true. I don't know if I have the right wardrobe for Laramie, Wyoming. And another 9 p.m. game, man. So
I hate that.
This is a personal dilemma that nobody cares about. But 7:30 a.m. flight tomorrow. The game, you get the rental car, you get up there, and the game's not till 9 p.m. And then the flight on Sunday with, I think, Jordan K's on my flight is like at 10 in the morning back on Sunday. So it's like, do you stay in Laramie and then get up at 5 in the morning to drive back to Denver? Do you just try to stay up and get back to Denver at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and then sleep for a few hours? But I don't love that option because I will have been up since 5 a.m. tomorrow getting ready for the flight. So I'm actually looking at maybe paying for like some cheap hotel in Laramie to take a nap in for a few hours tomorrow afternoon and then driving back. We'll see. But it's the team doesn't have to deal with that. They're chartering both ways. They got a charter. They're going to fly into this evening. The university stepped up on a couple of these and some boosters and stuff. And so I think they got mostly commercial flights the rest of the season, but they were able to do with this quick turnaround, as you said, charter back after the game. And then they'll charter this evening and charter right back after the game on Saturday to get ready for the quick turnaround against Nevada on Tuesday. But this Wyoming team, as we said early in the show, Jay, not the team we thought it was going to be. They don't have Graham Ike. I kept having a weird feeling this was going to be the game he returns for. And until I actually see him out there not suited up tomorrow, part of me thinks that he could play just because that's how kind of Boise State's luck goes, it seems like sometimes. But he has not played this season due to an injury. You wonder at one point he just shuts it down and focuses on his pro career. Who knows? But so they've had a lot of other guys that have been injured. 2 starters are questionable, I guess, for tomorrow in addition to Ike. And you just look at them overall, and it's been a little bit of a struggle for them. They've lost 6 games in a row. It's just been a really big struggle. They've not been able to get it going at all. And they've had some close games. I mean, the last couple of home games, they only lost by 5 to San Diego State in a game that they were winning with like 2 minutes left. And then New Mexico, they lost by 1 point on a questionable call there late in the game. They were close against Fresno State as well. So a lot of these losses have been close. And you look in the spreads, only 6 points for tomorrow. I mean, this is a dangerous game for me. This is a really scary game. Boise State member, don't forget. Well, I mean, you know this, but last year, the 14-game winning streak ended in Laramie against Wyoming last year. And so it's a tough place to play, the altitude, the elevation, all that. And if you look at some of the scores, Wyoming plays well at home. And so I know that the numbers don't say it, and this would be a quad 3 loss. But this to me is every bit as scary, if not scarier, than the game was the other night.
Well, I think a big reason why is like this is a game now that almost becomes a must win for Boise State if you want to like consider their at-large resume chances, right? Like it sucks because anybody that knows the Mountain West knows that going to Laramie with some of the talent they have should not be considered a quad 3 game. But it is what it is this year. They've been injured, they've struggled, and they're banged up. And now this is kind of almost a must-win for Boise State, just because, again, that quad 3 losses aren't going to help you on Selection Sunday. So they kind of have to go and take care of business. And I don't doubt that they'll be uber focused and ready to go. And the one thing about this, BJ, and we know that Leon Rice is locked into this one game at a time mentality, but he knows Jeff Linder, and that in itself will prevent anybody from overlooking whatever, this trip to Laramie. They'll be locked in, they'll be dialed, they'll be ready to go, and a few injuries won't do anything to shape the mindset of this Boise State men's basketball team. They'll be ready.
We go over to the Idaho Central Credit Union YouTube chat. We got some comments rolling in here. Perry's wondering where Sada is. I think he just is a combination of being hurt for a couple of games, and I also think that when you're in these key Mountain West games, particularly on the road, you got to go with the guys that you feel most confident in, and nothing against Sada, but I think he just hasn't quite got to the point where Leon's comfortable putting him in. I mean, Jace Whiting has certainly passed him up on the depth chart. I mean, they don't play the same position, but I mean, just in terms of guys going in there to play, because, Najee Smith, because he's moved into the starting lineup, and then you have Milner behind him, and even Pavle has gotten into the game and done some things, and Pavle would probably be more of the guy that's taking the minutes away potentially from Sada. So I think they're still very high on him moving forward, Jay, but to this point, Sada just it's taken a little longer. I think injury has played part of that, but just been a little longer for him to get going, and you can't really in the middle of the season, you just can't give guys minutes just to give them minutes in the middle of the season. And I will say this, Sada missed all of the summer. He was he was in Angola playing with his national team. There were some paperwork issues getting him back into the United States. So Boise State does like an 8 to 10 week kind of summer program, and Sada didn't even arrive till like the first day of class. So I don't know if that had any effect on it or not, but I would assume 8 to 10 weeks with Boise State's coaching over the summer would have put him in a better spot going into the season. So he's very raw and young still, and they love the talent, but I just think it's going to be a little bit slower of a process than some fans wanted.
Yeah, I think so. I think at some point in time we tempered expectations on this program for Sada, just because he had a lot of stars attached to his name, but he was still coming off of injuries and needed time to develop. And, I will say this. I don't remember too many times where I could go back in the Leon Rice era and say that he was like unfair about playing time. Like I just don't, he'll reward guys that deserve to play. I mean, he just usually does. And so he also says that he listens to his leaders on the team. Like if they're like, hey, you need to get this guy minutes because of the way that he's practicing, like he'll listen to those guys. So it's not just like a simple you're not playing type of decision, right? Like there's a lot that goes into this, and I'm pretty confident with whatever he's riding with right now, especially when you see how guys like Jace Whiting and Kobe Young are starting to come on a little bit.
If you're looking for a new insurance company, United Commercial Insurance. They can make business insurance easy for you. If you own a business, if you help handle the business, the insurance for your business, look no further at UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They can lower your rate with a quick call, 229-8222. Ask for Brandon, the owner. He'll take care of you. UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. You're looking for a dentist? I'm seeing Dr. Miner in like 2 weeks here. Check him out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Full family dentistry and wellness with Dr. Miner and his staff. They got locations from Mountain Home to Caldwell, everywhere in between. Huge BSU fan and supporter. He's looking actually to get into some NIL deals here moving forward. So if you're wanting to support a local business, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Make the switch for your full family like the Raines family did. You will not be disappointed. The Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Free shipping, any order over $40. That's right, online, theblueandorangestore.com. All the newest gear. I saw their tweet the other day. They got the retro sweatshirts. They got all the new arrivals. Tons of new gear just arrived. So check them out, all the Nike gear, theblueandorangestore.com. And if you're in the Boise area, just go check them out on the second story of the Boise at Town Square Mall. And, of course, Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, the #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley finale is Matt Bauscher yet again. Check him out, BauscherRealEstate.com. No home too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them take care of you, help you out, support folks that are supporting Bronco Nation News. We would really appreciate it at BauscherRealEstate.com. Final couple of comments here before we get out of here, Jay. Back on the Idaho Central Credit Union YouTube chat, I had a couple good ones. Nathaniel says, trap game tomorrow, solid quad 1 win over UNLV. Then you're playing quad 1 game against Nevada on Tuesday. With this game, Perry says Wyoming's not a gimme. Dev Bronco, very few gimmies in the Mountain West. I don't know if trap game's the right word. It kind of is, because I think Boise State realizes it's going to be a little harder than some. Jake says, I would love another scary game like the last one where they still win by 20.
That would be the ideal thing, like in every game, right? Like the first 30 minutes you're entertained, and the last 10 you just kind of celebrate because your team drops the hammer. I think that would be the ideal scenario right there.
Jordan says the beet juice, by the way. Got to get they'll be taking the shots of beet juice before the game. Last year it was funny because quick side story, they started doing that like for every road game or something later in the season when they started going to all these elevation places, and they had the superstition with the win streak and all that. So there they are in Las Vegas at the Mountain West tournament. They're getting ready to leave for I think the semifinal game against Wyoming, and we were over there getting some video of them getting on the bus and stuff. And they couldn't find those small little like medicine glasses they used to use, so they were literally using like those plastic wine cups of those little plastic cups you could put a glass of wine in. Yeah. And they got one left for Leon Rice, and he's got his little bit of red beet juice in there, and it looks just like red wine. And Jeremiah Dickey is walking by and kind of looks over puzzlingly, I think, and sees Leon Rice like shooting this red juice that looks like red wine right before the game. And then Leon kind of walks to the bus, and I think I was joking with him later. He's like, hey, he's like, whatever works, I guess. He's like, I'm not going to say anything to him at this point in the tournament. It very easily looked like it could have been red wine that they were all chugging right before they got on the bus, but it was not. It was beet juice, and it worked for them. Obviously, they won the tournament. What was the pickle juice, right? The J Train did, Jay Ajayi.
We brought out literally the jar of pickles on the sideline.
Funny enough, Jace Whiting's family nickname is the J Train, according to Jordan Morales. So, Shaver status, Jay. We saw him limping off the court in the game the other day. I rewatched the TV copy of the broadcast, and they mentioned several times that he was limping or just not looking like himself. There were a couple people saying, if leave him home. I don't think you can just afford to not play him in this game, but I doubt he's practicing much. He just been a little slow. I know he had a couple of big buckets in the second half, but he just plays so hard, and when he falls to the ground on some of those layups, he gets his body beat up. I know he's dealing with some other stuff in addition to the ankle, but I guess Marcus Shaver's health is going to be a big story Saturday and down the stretch here.
Maybe Leon goes over and talks to the football staff about how they managed to keep George Halani healthy for the season, right? Like that was a big narrative going into the football season of how we limit contact and all this stuff to keep George Halani healthy. And lo and behold, he plays in 13 out of 14 games and rushes for almost 1,200 yards. So I don't know. I'm kind of kidding about that. Obviously, Leon knows what he's doing, but they do have to find a way to keep that guy healthy because he is a big-time difference maker, especially late in close games. One kind of underlying story in the UNLV game that, there was just so much to talk about that might have gotten a little bit overlooked was the defense against UNLV's guards. I mean, their top score was 5 of 18 from the floor. Boise State's guards did a wonderful job defending some really good UNLV guards last game. And Marcus Shaver Jr. is a part of that. And so they have to find a way to keep Marcus healthy. They're probably going to have to find another time in this Mountain West schedule to get him another break so that he's ready to go come the NCAA tournament. Well, hopefully the NCAA tournament, but at the very least, the Mountain West Conference tournament. And that's, potentially 3 games in 3 days as we saw last year. So they have to do something to try to make sure that they can keep Marcus at the top of his game, the top of his health, and we'll see how they navigate moving forward. The play of Jace Whiting certainly gives you a little bit more confidence that you can give Marcus a little bit of a breather, but then if you go to that, well, you need somebody else off the bench to step up a little bit. So you really push the limits of your team. I will say this about Wyoming, BJ. With the way that Boise State's playing offensively right now, you feel pretty good about it. The biggest difference between Wyoming this year and last year is their ability to get stops on defense. And last year, they were a very, very good defensive team. They play at a kind of another deliberate pace, kind of like, we saw Boise State with those brick fights last year. But this year, they aren't the same defensive team. They rank in like the 240s, I want to say, when it comes to the adjusted defensive metric that Ken Palm uses. So last year I know that they were top 100. They might have been top 70 last year. So they just kind of really struggled to get stops in the fashion and consistency that they were able to last year when they were, one of the best teams in the Mountain West and an NCAA tournament team.
And probably with that, because they don't have Graham Ike, that's a huge factor.
I mean,
the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year or something, I think, or was first team All League player. So that's a huge difference. So
yeah,
Jay, appreciate your time as always. One final shout out to our contest winner, Greg McVeigh. Hope
Greg.
I know he had a great trip and it was awesome for Greg, and I'm so happy for him and that it worked out with Matt Bauscher and all of our sponsors and everybody to go down there. And it was a great time. They got the win. He got to meet Coach Rice after the game, and apparently they've bumped into each other before on the Greenbelt talking about their dogs and stuff. So it was just an awesome trip, and we were so happy to be able to do it, and be looking for our next contest that we're going to be doing next year at some point as well. If you came in late, we got the full recap video of the trip up on our social media channels as well. So we got basketball interviews again today here in a little while. So we'll have Leon Rice, I think it's Jace Whiting and Najee Smith, I believe, talking today. We'll get those up on the YouTube channel here this afternoon. And then thanks to Idaho Central Credit Union, I'll be off to Denver and then driving to Laramie early tomorrow. So we'll have full coverage on the pregame show, the postgame show, all that good stuff. Another 9 p.m. game, so put the coffee on, and we'll talk to you from Laramie tomorrow. So have a great rest of your day. Thanks to Jay. Thanks to KTVB. Thanks to everybody for checking us out, watching the video. Have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll talk to you soon. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.